Well, so we need to get some insight because there are a lot of permutations so far, but also greater implications. And we need directly to get some reaction towards this and do the projections as to what we expect to see tomorrow. Dr. Rashid Draman is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. And we've seen all the concerns that had been raised, especially by the majority about the proceedings that took place the last time. But tomorrow, when we have Parliament reconvening, what should we be seeing, knowing that the Speaker is also absent?
Roland, tomorrow when Parliament reconvenes, I think what we should be seeing should be the product of the conversations that perhaps I expect should have been going on now between the minority and the majority side, but most importantly, between the Minister of Finance and the minority side, so that the concerns that have been raised and the consensus that he sought to build on Friday that he wasn't allowed to, perhaps this is a time that this should have been taking place. And hopefully when they reconvene tomorrow, we will not see a lot of drama as we saw on Friday, which was a very good reminder of what happened on the night of January 6th going into January 7th.
Well, even after that incident, there seemed to be a lot of drama too. We've had some swift reactions from the majority leader speaking across the various media platforms right here. And then even the minority issuing a statement for their 5 pointers to be drummed home in the ears of the public about their position. That will have some implications on how both of them sit to whether collaborate or to consult, right?
Indeed, Roland, I think this is not a time for each side to be digging in. And when you hear, the reactions from both sides, and even when you have been on different platforms with members of parliament from the two sides, I mean, when you hear the conversation and the language, it doesn't show a group that is ready to see eye to eye. But at the end of the day, I think there is no choice. I think one thing that both sides would need to remember is that we are not in normal times. We are not in the 6th Parliament, 7th Parliament, 5th Parliament, where one side had some significant numeric advantage over the other. I mean, this time, we have to be mindful, and we have to, we have to remember at all times the characteristics of this Parliament. Look, Roland, you can wake up and there's a critical bill before the House, and some members are not well, maybe from one side or the other. And that is why it's important that they keep the conversation going at all times. And in fact, what's happening now with this budget politics is a stark reminder that if we are not careful and we don't deal with the issues of consensus and bridge building between the two sides, we are going to see a lot more surprises in the next 3 years. And that is, at the end of the day, not going to be very good for the ordinary citizen, those of us who are the recipients of whatever policy decisions.
Right. So just in 2 words or even a word, what would you want the posture of both sides to be, especially the majority side?
I think the posture should be a posture of readiness to give in, that is on the side of the majority, to give in some of the demands of the minority, and then a posture from the minority to also know that they might not be able to get all that they have demanded. So at the end of the day, they all have to move to the middle, and then let's see what conversation can happen so that the business of our country can move on.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Rashid Draman is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, giving us some great insight there, Portia.